Hello there. Hey, thanks for joining me today on our good little program, Psychology for Today. In this program, I try to identify issues that we live with and that we struggle with as individuals in our society today, some of the problems that we face as families and as individuals, and try to address it from the point of view of what psychology has to offer. What have we learned in our research that psychology can say, here are some of the things that could be very helpful if you're experiencing a particular kind of a problem. Now today, we're going to look at anxiety. Last time in our program, we looked at depression. But today we're going to look at anxiety, a very powerful emotion that overcomes us and impairs us, if you will, in our lifestyle and how we live socially and how we live with other people. Anxiety is a real kicker in our life, and it defeats us. It's a strong, powerful emotion that hard to manage, hard to control, hard to understand, if you will. So we're going to take a look at that today and see if we can get a better understanding of it and give you some suggestions as to how you can deal with the anxiety in your life and the ways in which you can enhance your life, enhance your daily life experience. Be a better person, be a more effective person, be a more powerful person, be a more influential person by having your anxiety managed well. Now, a couple of years back, I wrote a book. That book is entitled, it's on your screen, Achieving and Living a Healthy Lifestyle in a World of Stress. And in that book, I devoted a chapter to the issue of anxiety. And I really approached it from the point of view of not only what anxiety is, but how do you manage anxiety in your life so that you can live above it rather than live with it or live underneath it. So what are some of the traits, what are some of the characteristics, some of the manners of controlling anxiety so you can live more effectively? So I devoted a whole chapter to that in the book, and I recommend the book to you. Achieving and Living a Healthy Lifestyle in a World of Stress. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, you can get it at Amazon, you can get it from my website, which is on the screen as well for you today. So you can get it anywhere, any bookstore, pick it up, because it not only deals with anxiety, but I have chapters that deal with depression, I have chapters that deal with anger, chapters that deal with stresses in our life and how we can manage stress, and so on and down the line. I've covered about 40 different topics, and you can pick that up in the book and do it at your own leisure and read. But today I want to just draw your attention to the issue of anxiety. So look at the quote that is being projected on the screen in front of you to kind of put this into perspective as to what we need to think about when we think of the terms of anxiety and what anxiety is in our own life and what it is in the people that we deal with. So when you look at the anxiety, here's the quote that I just want you to kind of capture. Be anxious for nothing, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Very famous quote. And here's the deal about that. You don't need to really be anxious. You know, we create our own anxiety. We create our reasons for anxiety. We make something more anxious in our life than it really needs to be. And there is nothing in the world that you really need to be overpowered by in the form of anxiety. So the quote starts out by saying, be anxious for nothing. Don't be upset. Don't be fearful. Don't live a life of anxiety. Don't live a life of panic attacks and those kind of things. You don't need to live a life like that. Let tomorrow come into your life, because tomorrow, that anxiety that you have today will not be there tomorrow in all probability. You know, if you look at tomorrow, it's a new day. It's a new opportunity. You'll have new strength. You'll have new energy. You'll have a rest. You'll have new perspective on your life and on the circumstances in your life. It'll be a whole different view tomorrow. So be anxious for nothing today, for tomorrow will take care of itself, and let it just take care of itself. It really is a matter of letting go and letting your life just be managed day to day by the events of the world and the events of your life, living from one day, to the next. We make much more out of our life and much more out of circumstances than we really need to. We create our fear. We create our anxiety. We imagine things that are going to be overpowering us. See, here's the deal about anxiety. It's not the anxiety that you have to be worried about. People worry about what's going to happen to them if they have anxiety. They're going to die. They have a heart attack. They're going to be attacked by somebody outside of themselves in the community. They're not safe. We always think about anxiety in the context of something happening to us. And that's just imagination. That's just speculation, if you will. Be anxious for nothing, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Good quote for you to remember and a good quote for you to memorize and to live by. Now, let me just go on to say this about fear. Fear is one of the anxieties, if you will. We're afraid of the dark. We're afraid of certain people. We're afraid of certain circumstances. We're afraid of heights. We're afraid of fast speed. We're afraid of certain people. We're afraid of guns. We're afraid of loud noises. I mean, there are a multitude of things that we are afraid of. It's our fear. We call that our fear. And sometimes that fear will do us in. It will overpower us and impair us so we don't function in a day-to-day world in which we live. So there's some kind of a formula that we've come up with that addresses the issue of fear in your life. What are you afraid of? First of all, identify it. Know what you're afraid of. Identify it so that you have a good handle on what it is that you're trying to overcome, what it is you're trying to conquer, what is it you're trying to win over, if you will. Win over worry, win over fear. So we've come up with a little acronym, FEAR, and it's there on the screen in front of you, and I want you to just kind of reflect on this because it's kind of a shorthand way of not only controlling and managing fear, but it's a shorthand way of dealing with all anxieties that we're going to talk about just a little bit later. But I want you to just kind of a shorthand lesson, a shorthand version of management of fear and management of anxiety. Take a look at it. Fear, F. Face your fear. You see, the tendency when we're afraid of something is to avoid it. The tendency to walk away from it, to stay away from it, get away as far as you can from the thing that you identify as your fear. And you know what? You'll never overcome your fear by avoiding the object that you're afraid of. If you are afraid of a certain animal and you avoid that animal all your life, you'll always be afraid of that animal. You'll never get over that animal fear. So, avoiding, backing off from, staying away from the fear object, it will never conquer the fear. It's not the answer. The answer comes in face your fear. Now, here's how we face it. In gradual increments. You don't just kind of go into a fear situation as if you're haven't given any thought to it. No. You take one step closer, and then one step closer, and then one step closer. And in a gradual successive of steps, we face our fear. I remember talking to a lady one time who had a fear of crowds, and she wouldn't go to church because of the people that were there, and she couldn't sit in the middle of people where they were sitting, and she couldn't obviously sit up front. So she wouldn't go at all. So we worked out this little program for her that she would go to the church that she attended and sit in the back seat, the back row. She came late, and we arranged to have a seat available for her. So she sat in the back row, the last seat, and attended the church service. And she was proud of herself for having done that. And we did that for a couple weeks. Then we changed the schedule. We made arrangements for the seat in front of that person to be vacant so she could come in late and sit in the second row to the back. And then we did the third row. And she came in and then she sat in the third row from the back. and then the fourth row, and then the fifth row, and so on. And we gradually introduced her into a crowd situation, and she gradually was able to feel comfortable and accommodate to that particular situation. So that's how you do it. We call that successive approximations. You approximate that situation in small increments, small steps, so that you can handle it. That's the way of facing your fear. Don't just walk into it blindfolded and in the middle of everything. No, do them in these gradual steps. Take one little step at a time, and you'll be able to do it. Noise, if you're afraid of noise, do the same thing with a radio or with your iPhone. Set it down to a very, very soft tone, very low volume. And then when you feel comfortable, increase that a little bit. When you feel comfortable, increase that a little bit. And then so on, and increase it again. So gradually you're being introduced into noise, and you'll be able to handle loud sounds, loud noises, loud groups of people, and so on, where noise is available. You see, that's how you face your fear. So just know what the triggers are, know what you're afraid of, and then figure out how can I gradually approach. How can I gradually introduce myself into that situation? With little children who are afraid of the dark, we have them go in the room when the light's on. And then we change the wattage in the bulb. And we lower that light. And then we change the wattage of the bulb again. We change the wattage of the bulb again. So it goes from a bright light all the way down to a very, very dim light. And then soon the child is able to accommodate and be comfortable in a dark situation or dark room. So there's ways of doing it. It's being creative, you see. That's facing your fear. Okay. E. Expect that you can change. You don't have to live with fear. Expect that you can get over your fear. Expect that you can conquer it. Expect that you can get beyond it. Expect that you can live with it. Expect that that fear is smaller than you are, and you're bigger than the fear. Just kind of expect that you can overcome that fear if you have a plan, if you have a program, if you have somebody to help you, if you have somebody to guide you in that whole process. Do your confrontation of fear in gradual increments, but expect that you can handle it. You can learn. You learned the fear to start with. You weren't born with that fear. You learn to be fearful of something. Well, then unlearn that fear and learn not to be fearful. Learn to approach, learn to be comfortable in the situation where you were fearful in the past. Learn new behaviors, learn new responses, learn new ways of living. But you got to, first of all, you got to expect that you can learn that and you can get beyond it and you can conquer your fear. That's F and E. Take a look at A. Assertive. Learn to be assertive. You will not overcome your anxiety. You will not overcome your fear if you're passive, if you don't say something, if you don't talk, if you don't express yourself, if you don't become part of the dialogue. So it's important that you learn to be assertive in your communication. Social anxiety, for instance. You need to be able to talk. And as you learn to talk to people, you have less social anxiety because you don't need to be anxious in social situations because you can communicate with other people. You've learned to be assertive. You learn to express yourself. You learn to guide yourself. You learn to talk about what the things that are important to you and the ways that you think and listen to other people as well. So assertive communication is just a way to gradually open the door to a situation that otherwise you stay away from, you stay out of. Social environments are important in our life. We need to be able to be in social environments to live our life, to live effectively, to live productively. You need to be around people. You need to be with people. You need to go where people are. And you won't do it unless you're assertive, unless you learn the skill of speaking up. So we do the same thing. Answer questions with one word, yes or no. or yes, perhaps, maybe. Just answer anybody who talks to you, but give your answers in very simple terms. And then add to that a little bit. Give a little sentence, a phrase, so that you elaborate just a little bit. And then after a while, you elaborate a little bit more. And then maybe you might even ask a question of somebody else and elaborate a little bit more. So it's that same thing. You learn to be assertive. You learn to be communicative in gradual increments. Don't avoid. Don't be passive. Because you'll never get over your fear if you're just passive and don't go out and don't try and don't talk and don't involve yourself with other people. You've got to be an assertive person to overcome your fear, and you have to learn the assertive communication skills. Skills of communication, skills of talking. Now the last one is R. F-E-A-R, fear. Learn to relax. Learn to relax your body. Learn to relax your mind. Learn to relax your heart rate. Learn to relax your stomach muscles. Learn to relax your shoulders so you're not so tense. You see, relaxation is a very important skill to learn to reduce your anxiety, because when we're anxious, when we're nervous, when we're upset, we're just afraid of things, we do this. We tighten up and we hold on to the steering wheel with our hands in great grip. That's what we do when we're anxious and nervous. Undo it. Let go of those hands. Hold the steering wheel lightly. Lower the shoulders. Lower the jaw. Open the mouth a little bit. Breathe through the mouth. Let the stomach relax. Let your shoulders down. Let that chest just open up and relax a little bit. Same with your arms and your hands and all the way down to your feet. Just let go so that you think of it like a rubber band. You know, you're tense, you're nervous, and you got it tight, and then gradually let go of that rubber band. Let it go back to its normal position, which is a state of relaxation. So think of yourself as a rubber band. Under states of fear and nervousness and tension, we do this. But let go so that you have this chance of being calm and relaxed and loose. And you'll feel better when you're out in social situations, or you're trying to go to sleep, or you're trying to talk to people, or whatever the social situation is that you find yourself in. Make sure that you just let yourself go physically. Let your muscle system relax and let go. Then you will feel less fear. You'll feel less anxious. You'll feel less nervous. And you'll feel empowered. You'll feel more confident. You'll feel more assured of yourself. You'll want to be out in social situations. You'll want to go to the church meeting that you would want to always go to and be with the people you want to be with. You'll want to do that when you have this ability to overcome your fear and conquer your fear by using these little 4 steps. Face your fear. Expect that you can do better and you can change it. Speak assertively and relax your muscle systems of your body. And you put those 4 things together, your fear will dissipate. Your fear will go down. Your fear will go away. You'll conquer that fear, and you'll live more victoriously. You'll live more courageously. You'll live more happily. You'll live more openly and socially. That's what happens when you let fear overcome you, or you let fear bypass you and go away. Now, one more thing that I'd like to do, and that is give you a little bit more instruction in the area of anxiety management. You know, we live with fear. That's true. We live with anxiety. Some of us can't be in social situations. We panic. Some of us experience the panic feeling. And it's almost like you're having a heart attack. All the muscles tense up in the chest area. All the blood circulates into those particular muscles. And you think your heart is being stressed beyond its ability, and you're having a heart attack. That's what panic attacks are all about. They aren't hard at all. They're just you in a high state of anxiety, and I'll explain that. So what you want to make sure that you do is learn There are management strategies by which you can live with anxiety and manage it well and eventually get rid of that anxiety and live more freely. So let's take a look at what some of these things are that we do to relax. That's number one. You got to learn to relax. If you're going to overcome your anxiety, if you're going to learn to overcome a panic attack when you just feel like you're being overwhelmed, you have to learn physical relaxation. Now, a minute ago, I talked about this rubber band. Your whole body does this, and you stretch it out like that. Then you got to let go, and you got to let your body just relax and let it calm down and let it go back to its normal position, which is a state of relaxation, by the way. But you can do that in gradual increments as well. Tense your hands. Hold them tight. Feel the tension. And then in the count of 5, just gradually let them relax. Just gradually let them relax. Do the same thing with your shoulders. Tense up, hold it to 5, feel that tension, and then gradually in a count of 5, let go so that your shoulders relax. Do the same thing with your face, your jaw. Tense up your jaw, hold it, and then gradually let it go. Same thing with your chest, tighten it, and then let it go on the count of 5. Same thing with your stomach. Tense it, hold it tight, firm, and then gradually let it go and let it relax. Your legs, same thing. Your feet, same thing. Work through your body, first tensing it, holding it, feeling the tension, by the way. Hold it for about 5 seconds, and then just gradually let go and say the word relax. Say the word calm. Say the word easy. Let go. As you let go of the muscles and enjoy the achievement and the state of relaxation. You can change your state from a high level of anxiety to a low state of anxiety by just working through a relaxation exercise like that. We call it systematic relaxation. You have to systematically go through your body. You want to get into the deep muscles of your body and relax them so that you feel comfortable. See, here's what happens in the state of anxiety. In your brain, in the midbrain, right in the middle of your brain, halfway down, halfway across from your ears, there's what we call that midbrain area. And that is the area of the brain that has to do with arousal, that has to do with anxiety, that has to do with being feared, in a state of fear. That has to do with being excitable, and that's sometimes associated with anxiety. Then there's another part of your brain, which we call the forebrain. That has to do with managing your life, managing your fear, managing your body, calming down, slowing your body down, managing it. So you have these two parts of your brain that you have to kind of work with. If you don't control it while your forebrain, then that midbrain is just going to keep going. It's going to be a high level of activity, high level of anxiety, high level of stress, high level of excitement. That's going to be nervous-wracking for you. So control it when you give thought to slowing down, relaxing, taking words of relaxation, words of kindness, words of management, words of being still, words of being just relaxed and at ease. Imagine places where you can be relaxed. You see, get your brain calmed down. Very important, and that's what relaxation does. It calms down your brain so that you're thinking now more reasonably and more comfortably, and you're living more reasonably and more comfortably as well. Okay, that's number one. You have to learn to systematically relax your body. If you're going to relax your body, you'll learn how to relax your anxiety. If you don't learn to systematically relax your body, you're going to have the anxiety. So it's one or the other. You can't be tense and nervous and relaxed at the same time. You can't be. You're going to be tense and nervous or relaxed. So let's take the relaxation and move away that tension and that high levels of anxiety. Here's another thing you want to make sure you do when you're anxious. Stay away from people who are nervous people. Stay away from people who get you agitated. Stay away from people who are always nervous and they're always complaining and they're always fearful and they're always talking about their fears and their anxieties and the things they're afraid of. Stay away from places that make you nervous. Stay away from people that make you nervous, make you afraid. Stay away from places like that until you can conquer them. And you do it systematically, like I taught you a little while ago. Gradually enter these situations that you're afraid of so that you can conquer them. Then you're all right. But until you do that, stay away from them. Don't let your body be subjected to people who are anxious people, are always complaining, always nervous, and have nervous tics and nervous habits and things like that that make you nervous. Stay away from people like that. Because you don't want to live a life of anxiety. You don't want people to create that sense of anxiety for you either. So that's number 2. Avoid anything, any place, any person that creates for you that sense of unrest and uncertainty. Maybe crowds, if you will, might even just make you unrest and uncertain and have anxiety. Stay away from them until you can conquer them, like we talked about. All right, here's the third point. You have to understand adrenaline. If you're going to control anxiety, you have to understand adrenaline. And if you have panic attacks, this is for you. Because panic attacks is just excessive amount of adrenaline in your body, more than you need for the situation that you're in, more than you need for what you're doing. See, right in your body, about right here in the middle of your chest, you have a little gland, the adrenal gland, and it produces a juice that's called adrenaline. And it's like a little faucet that operates in your body. And that faucet is just open a little bit, and you get a little drip, drip, drip of adrenaline, and that keeps you alive, and it keeps you alert, and it keeps you aware of what's going on around you, and you can function. Because there's just that little adrenaline that gives you just enough energy for what you're doing. But if all of a sudden something happens and you need to spring into action, then that adrenaline you need more of that adrenaline, so that adrenal gland, that faucet opens up even more, and you get more adrenaline, goes in your bloodstream, goes into your heart, goes throughout your body, throughout in your muscles, and you spring into action, and you have the energy for the occasion that you're now facing. And if you're a football player, you need a lot of adrenaline, and you need it for that whole hour or two that you're playing football. And that adrenaline comes from that adrenal gland, and you open that thing up, and you get that adrenaline flow. And you get that adrenaline flow for the occasion that you're in, which is the football game. If you're a public speaker, you need to have that adrenaline flowing. If you're a salesperson, you need that adrenaline flowing. If you're in a debate, you need that adrenaline flowing. So we have this regulation of the adrenal gland by how much adrenaline you need. However, here's the problem. Sometimes you get more adrenaline than you need. Sometimes you get much more adrenaline than you need for the occasion. So your body is hyped up as if you're going to play football, but you're actually just going to sit and read a book. Of course you're going to feel nervous. Of course you're going to feel like you're being overwhelmed. We call that a panic attack. You see? So when you have more adrenaline than you need for the occasion, you're going to feel hyped up. And the term we have for that is called panic attack. And the interesting thing about it is that if you just walk for about 20 minutes, that adrenaline comes down and calms down and is adequate for what you need the occasion. It kind of goes away, if you will. It dissipates throughout your body. Now, if you lay down and take a nap, it's going to take an hour and a half for that adrenaline to dissipate throughout your body. So if you want to take a nap, okay, it's going to take about an hour and a half to calm down. If you take a walk, it'll take about 20 minutes to calm down. Take your choice. But that adrenaline will dissipate throughout your body no matter what you do. So just let it go away. Let it go away. So you return back to a state of normalcy. You see, I've had people say to me, maybe I should go to the hospital. Maybe I should go to the emergency room when I get one of these panic attacks. You know what? By the time that you get to the hospital, by the time that you're seen, that adrenaline is dissipated already, and you're fine. You don't need to talk to anybody. You don't need a doctor. You're already back to normal. So don't do that. One time I had a patient that wanted to go to the hospital. I said, okay, here's what you do. Go to the emergency room, get a magazine, read the magazine, and go home. Now, she was in a safe place, 20 minutes to a half hour. She felt relaxed. She felt calm. She went back home and didn't see anybody. It didn't cost her a cent. Other than the time to go to the hospital. You see, we can control the adrenaline in our system. But when we don't control it, we feel that overwhelmed feeling. And that's when we feel nervous and we feel scared and we feel that panicky kind of a feeling. So that's what panic attacks are all about. Nothing's wrong with you. The only problem is that you had a little bit more adrenaline for that occasion than you needed. So learn to control, learn to manage that a lot better than otherwise you would do. Okay, let me give you another point. Mantra. Learn to have a mantra. Now, a mantra is just simply this. I can do it. I'm able. I can handle it. You say those things to yourself. A mantra is a way of talking to yourself. Remember the little book, The Little Engine That Could? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And that little old blue engine went up that mountain, and he made it to the very top because he had a mantra. I think I can, I think I can. And you have your own mantra. I can handle it. I can do it. I can manage it. I'll be okay. I can make it. I'll be all right. You know, whatever it is, talk to yourself. That's what a mantra is. But talk yourself into calmness. Talk yourself into tranquility, if you will. Get the anxiety down so that you feel under control once again. Okay, here's another point. If you're going to manage your anxiety, you got to have an exercise program built into your life. Walking, swimming, biking, stretching, whatever you want to do, whatever way you want to exercise, 20 minutes of exercise a day would be a very helpful thing for you to do every single day of your life as a way of managing your anxiety. It's another way of adding control and management to your anxiety. You want to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom? Do your exercise. If you want to do the first thing in the morning when you get up and take a walk, take your walk. If you want to take your walk at night before you go to bed or before dinner, take your dinner walk. You know what? Do your exercise and try to do it at the same time every day. And the same kind of exercise. You don't need a whole variety of things. Just something that is about 20 minutes in length. And then you'll be able to add another component to your management of your anxiety. Some people do 20 minutes a day, but they break it up into small bits and pieces. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes later in the day, and 5 minutes at night, and so on. So they get 20 minutes in, but they do them in small bits and pieces. And there's some research that says that's even better. Small bits and pieces is better than one long 20 minutes of exercise. But you got to do what is comfortable for you and what fits into your schedule and what fits into your life pattern. So here's another point in managing your anxiety. Speak to yourself in words. Words that are calm. And maybe the word calm. Maybe the word take it easy. Maybe the word relax. Maybe the word peace. Maybe the word tranquil. Whatever it is, select words that give you a sense of calmness. Think of images. Think of places that you have been, beaches that you've been on, walks that you've taken, walks through the woods that you've had. Think of places that are just relaxing for you, or being with a person that you find very relaxing. Kind of imagine yourself in that situation for just a few minutes, and then flash on that throughout the day, several times during the day, so that you have exposure to relaxing people, relaxing thoughts, relaxing words, relaxing images, and then you'll relax your body according to. Here's my last point. You live with anxiety. You live with panic attacks. And you use these kind of ideas, and they may help a little bit. They may help a lot. But maybe not totally. Get yourself into a therapist. Find yourself a clinical psychologist and get yourself into therapy. Now, here's the deal they have to kind of remember. Medication by itself to handle anxiety is the worst thing you can do. You go to a doctor, he gives you a prescription of medication for anxiety. It's the worst thing you can do for yourself. Or you have an alternative. Go to a counselor and talk. Express yourself. That's a better thing to do, a much better thing to do, where you get some feedback and you get some ideas exchanged and learn some things from each other. That's much better. But here's even a better deal. Get some medication and get some counseling and do them both. Anxiety medication may help, along with counseling. And then the medication fades away and the counseling continues. Best thing you can do. But don't take medication by itself and expect to conquer your anxiety. It's not going to work. So don't let doctors tie you into that idea. If they're going to give medication, that's fine. But get a counselor to work with so that you do it together. Talk therapy and medication is your best option. But if you're going to do any one thing, do counseling. Talk to somebody. Get a therapist you can talk to. Get a therapist you trust. Get a therapist you like. And get going on it so that your life can live above anxiety, not below the line of anxiety. Very, very important. We started with my book, Achieving and Living a Healthy Lifestyle in a World of Stress. I have a chapter in here on the management of anxiety. Get the book. Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Go to my website, www.booksbyhedberg.com. Pick it up there. But wherever, and it will help you with a lot of different kind of problems of fear and anger and anxiety and depression and living more confidently and so on. And managing the stresses in your life. Great book for you. I recommend it, and I wrote it. So, of course I would recommend it for you. I think you'll like it. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be nervous. You don't have to live with fear. You can live above it and beyond it, and you can conquer these kind of emotions in your life. Don't live unsuccessfully. Live above it all, where your life can be successful, can be achieving, it can be accomplishment-oriented, and you can be socially engaged with the world around you and the people around you. Hey, thanks for joining me. Bye for now.